Beat sensitivity pain fast with SENSODYNE Rapid Action for clinically proven relief in 60 seconds.
Join us tomorrow at 7 a.m. when we look at how your money is working or not working for you. Do you have the money in the first place? Have you cut down on costs? Have you made major changes to your life? Are people there constantly, borrowing cash from you? How do you deal with all of that? Well, join me and a panel of experts here to discuss you and your money tomorrow at 7 a.m.
Breaking news from Molfix. Let's see what they're developing right now.
Pants is just for me. It really feels very comfy.
Molfix pants with anatomic fit technology. New Molfix pants, an invention from babies for babies.
You should also try Molfix.
Je, maumivu ya kichwa na kukosesha amani? Kaluma Strong hutuliza maumivu ya kichwa, maumivu ya mwili na hata huondoa joto jingi mwilini. Kaluma Strong ina aspirin kama kiungo. Maumivu yakizidi, muone daktari.
Geisha aloe vera and honey, made with the goodness of aloe vera to calm and refresh your skin.
Be strong and last long.
In the vast green Kiambu County, surrounded by luscious coffee plantations, flowing natural rivers, and alluring dams, sits the beautiful Zaria village, with every amenity desired for a home carefully considered. The village comprises of a perimeter wall, a kindergarten, a commercial center, and a clubhouse. There are 4 approved architectural house concepts, styled to accommodate your ideal dream home. Indulge your senses and relive your childhood desires, where you can be free, be bold, and be at home. Call us on 0729 121212, where you should dream it, own it, live it.
You can now redeem your Bonga points to save for your retirement today through CPF M Pension. To redeem your Bonga points, dial *126#, select Lipa na Bonga points, input the paybill number 921125 with your ID number as the account number and the amount you wish to send. To open your CPF M Pension account, simply dial *289# and follow the prompts. CPF, fulfilling lives.
Blueband margarine. New look, same great taste.
This is NTV.
Well, a very good evening to you. We are glad you could make time to join us this evening. It is the 12th day of the month of August, and the number of COVID-19 infections globally continue to rise. Tonight, the number of confirmed cases stand at 20,642,434. The death toll at more than 748,000. In Africa, the cases soar slightly above the 1 million mark with more than 23,000 deaths. And in the US, 5.3 million confirmed cases so far, with a death toll of more than 168,000. We have the numbers here in the country, but first, the highlights. Tonight, putting the pieces of the crumbling capital back together and fixing the NMS.
Sio kila saa mabishano na matusi.
It's all about forgiving the past and forging the future.
Kwa ndugu yangu Badi nimemwambia pole. Nimeahidi governor tutafanya kazi pamoja.
Also tonight, 18 more succumb to COVID-19 as Kenyans in informal settlements give in to worry about managing patients at home.
Sijatoka negative na nimeambiwa nirudi nyumbani. Hapa Kigira utajua siletu wapi.
Plus,
this bill will cause serious strain.
Pensioners struggling with delayed pay as MPs reach for more.
Why should the government discriminate about Kenyans? Upeane MPs pesa nyingi na wazee ambapo wanafanya kazi hawapewi pesa nyingi.
Team coverage tonight explores the pension burden on the taxpayer. And also tonight,
elephants are endangered species that we managed to tame poaching in this country.
Big milestones in protecting the country's elephants as world marks World Elephant Day.
NTV Tonight with Zainab Ismail.
Welcome. Our sign language interpreter this evening is David Agondoa, and with us, team coverage tonight, are our business editor Julian Samboko in the newsroom. Our business reporter Victor Kiprop is with me here in studio. From the counties are Kevin Mutai live from Mombasa, Lois Wangui is in Eldoret, and Melita Oletenges is coming from Nyeri. That's team coverage in a bit, but first in other stories. Well, tonight, the capital county, Nairobi, seems to be headed for a new direction in leadership and service delivery. Governor Mike Sonko and the director of the Nairobi Metropolitan Services, General Mohammed Badi, have agreed to chart a united front. It once again fell on President Uhuru Kenyatta to restore sanity in the city after months of antagonism between the two leaders. And as Leila Mohammed tells us, the new leadership structure will be complete end of the week when a new speaker is installed.
A seemingly an easy first public appearance for Nairobi Governor Mike Mbuvi Sonko after months of shooting accusations in the direction of the NMS Director Major General Mohammed Abdallah Badi. The two have today buried the hatchet and pledged to work in harmony.
Wale ambao wanajaribu kulete mgorogoro wa bure. Jukumu letu kama viongozi ambao wamechaguliwa na wananchi. Sio kila saa mabishano na matusi. Jukumu letu ni kuhudumia wenzetu.
But the first step to forging a united future is forgiving the past, they say.
Nairobi ni kubwa kushinda sisi sote. Haja yetu wananchi wapate maendeleo in terms of service delivery, na yale mambo yote mabaya nimeongea kwa ndugu yangu Badi nimemwambia pole. Ile tofauti yetu baina yetu imeisha hivi leo, na nimeahidi governor tutafanya kazi pamoja. Hakuna chuki kati yetu sisi.
At the center of this tussle, political control and influence beyond the administrative issues, President Uhuru Kenyatta taking the opportunity to set the record straight.
Sonko wacha siasa. Jemedari hana haja na kiti ya governor, hana haja na kiti ya MCA, hana haja na kiti ya speaker. Yeye ni mfanyikazi wangu, ni jemedari wangu. Akimaliza kazi ya Nairobi, atarudi jeshi kulinda wananchi wa taifa la Kenya.
For President Uhuru Kenyatta, the infighting at the Nairobi City County is doing much more harm to a city that is host to the national government. And now by Friday, he hopes that all the issues will be solved, and with new leadership in place, the hope that Sonko, NMS and the City County Assembly will be working in tandem
to give services to the people.
With this truce, the capital county is poised for a new dawn. Adverts have been going out asking those interested in the position of Speaker of the County Assembly to make applications. The position could be filled by Friday. Leila Mohammed, NTV.
All right, thanks, Lillian. That's the update here in Nairobi. Well, the country's COVID-19 caseload has now hit 28,104 after another 679 individuals are confirmed to have the disease. The 679 cases are from 6,590 samples tested in the last 24 hours. Out of that, 598 are Kenyans, while 21 are foreigners. 400 are male and 279 are female, while the youngest case is 1 month old and the oldest is 87. 743 patients have recovered in the last 24 hours, bringing the total recovery count to 14,610, which is slightly over half the total infections. 18 more patients have succumbed to the disease, raising the death toll to 456. Nairobi County has once again recorded the highest number of new infections with 349 new cases. Kiambu County has today recorded 69 new infections, Kajiado 35, Machakos 25, Nyeri 23, Garissa 18, Mombasa 16, Kericho 14, and Tharaka Nithi County 11 cases. All right, when the government rolled out the home-based care program for patients with mild COVID-19 symptoms, it hoped to kill two birds with one stone by easing the burden on health facilities, while at the same time managing the risk of spreading the disease. But for a fully recovered patient in Nairobi, the journey of nursing the disease at home presented even more challenges. Naoma Sampao has that story.
In the thick of Nairobi's Kibra slums, we find Monica Akelo going about her chores. A fully recovered from COVID-19 patient, she takes us through the challenges she has faced in the journey.
Sasa harakati zangu za kuuza hizo maswiti zangu kwa reli, ndio siku moja nilipata naumwa na kichwa na kifua inaniuma.
As a result, Monica was among the first patients released from hospital to continue their recovery journey at home when the government rolled out the home-based care program for patients. But home isolation was no mean task, she says.
Sijatoka negative na nimeambiwa nirudi nyumbani. Na nyumbani niko na watoto. Tulienda na swali kwa moyo juu tulishindwa hapa Kibira utajiasilete wapi? Na nyumba ni moja, jikoni ni moja.
According to guidelines by the World Health Organization, a home must meet certain space and hygiene requirements before it can be approved for home-based care, as well as consistent monitoring by medical experts. The Ministry of Health said informal settlements where households share small spaces would require identification of institutions within the community that meet the recommendations for providing such care. And as the sole breadwinner, the mother of 5 says, it is not so rosy.
Maybe mwenye amepelekwa isolation ndiye alikuwa anatafuta. Wale wamebaki walikuwa wametegemea kwa ule.
Now she is fully recovered, but whenever she steps out to fend for her young ones, Monica is worried about their safety. Residents of such informal settlements are alarmed by the rate of community infections.
Kulingana na vile tunaishi, ugonjwa huu inaweza tumaliza kwa sababu tunaishi mahali pamoja. Wewe unaweza vaa mask, jirani hawezi vaa mask.
A majority of residents in this settlement work in the informal sector and live hand to mouth. Naoma Sampao, NTV, Nairobi.
Now, Kenya and South Africa are expected to give a review of the coronavirus vaccine trials done in conjunction with Oxford University as the global search for a vaccine intensifies. Our health reporter Eunice Omolo tracks the stages of approval of some 165 vaccine prototypes developed across the world.
The journey in search for novel coronavirus vaccine
has been a tireless one, with scientists from different countries in a race against time to save humanity in the face of a virus that has so far infected more than 20 million people globally. Meanwhile, the government says Kenya has joined the global search for a vaccine.
Kenya and South Africa primarily are the two countries in Africa who are frontiers and are looking at different vaccine trials. We have collaborations with the University of Oxford, we have collaborations with DFID and different other partners in terms of ensuring that when this vaccine is found, that Kenya does have a stake in terms of being able to get the vaccine.
Russia became the first country to announce that a vaccine had attained regulatory approval after less than 2 months of testing on humans. But experts were quick to raise concerns about the speed of work, and a growing list of countries have expressed skepticism. Russia has dismissed mounting international concern over the safety of its locally developed COVID-19 vaccine as absolutely groundless. There are over 165 vaccine prototypes being developed across the globe, and 30 are in the human trial stage. Vaccine trials go through 5 stages before approval. At the moment, 135 vaccines have been tested on animals, such as mice and monkeys, to see if they produce an immune response. 19 of the vaccines have gone through phase 1, which involves testing for safety and dosage, while 11 are in phase 2, where scientists give the vaccine to hundreds of people split into groups, such as children and the elderly, to see if it acts differently in them. 8 are in phase 3, in which scientists test the vaccine on thousands of people to monitor and compare their response with volunteers who receive a placebo. Only 2 are at the vaccine approval stage.
WHO has been playing a coordinating role to collaborate with all the vaccine producers across the world, and has been involved in some of the trials directly. 2 or 3 of the vaccines have moved on to the phase 3 trials, which make them part of a large number of testing so that we can determine the efficacy and safety of the vaccines.
Kenya is also part of countries in the world undertaking a therapeutic test comparison in the treatment for COVID-19.
In terms of the therapeutics, the medications that we can give to COVID cases, Kenya is very close to become part of the WHO Solidarity Trial. So this is a trial where more than 70 countries of the world participate in comparing the different treatment modes that are available to us in a global setting.
The World Health Organization says it is in talks with Russian authorities about undertaking a review of the vaccine, which has been named Sputnik 5. Eunice Omolo, NTV, Nairobi.
Well, certainly we will be trading our eyes on that. Well, live from COVID-19, Senate Speaker Ken Lusaka says the House is working towards resolving the revenue sharing formula dispute soonest as possible to avoid a cash crunch for counties. For the 8th time, the Senate failed to pass a motion on the disputed sharing formula as senators argued over proposed amendments.
Kabla wiki hii haijaisha ili tuweze kutatua hiyo maneno, kwa sababu imechukua muda mrefu, pesa ziweze kuja kwa kaunti zetu. Na zikikuja, mimi nilikuwa governor, governors watumie kwa njia safi.
It's unfortunately that this formula has taken a long time. And that time we gave our input. Our input was actually taken in the formula, and this formula was then forwarded to the Senate.
All right, time now for team coverage, and we're looking at the pensions burden. First out is our business reporter Victor Kiprop with the Salaries and Remunerations Commission take on a move to increase retirement benefits for retired members of Parliament. Victor?
Well, Zainab, all eyes are now on President Uhuru Kenyatta as the taxpayer states are digging deeper into their pocket this year to meet the demand of members of Parliament for enhanced retirement benefits. The Salaries and Remuneration Commission, I beg your pardon, warns that this demand needs to be shelved.
A week after members of parliament passed the 2019 Parliamentary Pensions Amendment Bill, which seeks to enhance the retirement benefits of former members of parliament, the Salaries and Remuneration Commission now says it is pursuing all avenues to arrest the possibility of the bill receiving presidential assent.
It's not yet finalized. And as a commission, we have obviously looked at our different options. And there are options that we will definitely take. Options include, for example, petitioning to the president. That's an immediate option.
But even before the National Assembly passed the bill, strong objections against implementation of the plan had already built up, both inside and outside the House.
Treasury, Mr. Speaker, provided a very adverse opinion on this bill.
The argument that has been given is that the pension today at 33,000 per month is very small. It's not something that the MPs are able to sustain themselves with. But the key question is, who should actually pay for your pension?
If President Uhuru Kenyatta assents to the bill, at least 370 former members of parliament will see their monthly pension rise to 100,000 shillings from the current low of 33,000 shillings, an adjustment that the SRC says could cost taxpayers an additional 444 million shillings every year.
As a country, we are actually spending 895 billion on remuneration and benefits of public servants. Now, what does it really mean when we are spending that amount of revenue on just remuneration and benefits? It means that there is not enough money for development and for other social services.
With Kenya's annual public sector pension bill estimated at 119 billion shillings this financial year, up from 15 billion shillings in 2002, the government is looking to cut the burden borne by the exchequer by rolling out a public service pensions contribution scheme beginning January next year.
If an employee desires to have a pension that is very close to what they were earning before, then they must be willing to invest and contribute at the time at which they are working. What is not fair is to expect the taxpayer to pay for it.
Prior to sailing through the National Assembly, the National Treasury had warned against the implications of the bill on the public purse.
Well, not only does this new provision threaten to strain the already stretched state coffers for scarce resources, it is also triggering similar demands from other public service retirees. Kevin?
That's right, Victor. The move by members of parliament is already sending ripple effects across retirees who feel disenfranchised if the legislators have their way. I spoke to a few of them and I filed the following report.
It has been a week since the National Assembly approved the Parliamentary Pensions Amendment Bill of 2019, which, if assented to by President Uhuru Kenyatta, will see more than 300 lawmakers who retired between 1984 and 2001 receive a monthly pension of 100,000 shillings for their lifetime. The move threatens to set a potentially dangerous precedent with other public sector retirees across the country who are likely to demand similar enhancement of their retirement benefits.
Why should the government discriminate about Kenyans? Upeane MPs pesa nyingi na wazee ambapo wanafanya kazi hawapewi pesa nyingi. Kama watakubali parliament wapash wale wazee wapewe 100,000, wazee wetu pia wote wapewe 100% kwa sababu most of the civil servants wana earn between 2,000 shillings per month to 10,000 shillings.
Tunahitaji serikali yetu tukufu ya Kenya iweze kusikia maombi yetu na iweze kutupandisha, tuweze kuwa kama standard, mtu anaweza kula vizuri akaendelea kukaa kwa muda mrefu. Na pia mambo ya hospitali nayo tuangaliwe pia.
The National Treasury indicates that if the bill passed by parliamentarians receives the president's nod, the taxpayer will have to part with an additional 181 million shillings monthly to bankroll the enhancement retirement benefits for the former legislators. This comes at a time when majority of public service retirees are on dismal retirement benefits and struggling to make ends meet.
Nilikuwa nikifanya na KPA
kwa muda wa miaka 33 na nimeacha hiyo kazi mwaka 2000 mwaka 2000. Mpaka sasa hivi napokea pension ya shilingi 8,000 na mimi niko na watoto, niko na bibi.
The stalemate also raises concerns of how much the state workers should set aside for their sunset days in an environment where the cost of living is rising as a result of the tax burden.
Ilipotoka amount yangu niliyopata ilikatwa ushuru na nikapata mshahara ambao ni duni. Kwa hiyo mpaka sasa hii ni pesa ambazo napokea hazimtoshi kimaisha.
This now raises the question of affordability of Kenya's public sector pension. Julians, how is the economy faring on this front?
Well, it is quite a burden on the taxpayer if you consider the 120 billion shillings being paid out in the current financial year out of the state coffers just to meet the pensions and gratuity demands. Some industry stakeholders say that some of the interventions which were in the NSSF Act of 2013 and have stalled in the court orders could have helped unlock this situation. Take a listen.
The burden of servicing pension obligations on the taxpayer has been on a steady rise, with data from the National Treasury indicating that in the current financial year, 119 billion shillings will be drawn from the public purse for pension and gratuity, up from 92 billion shillings spent in the financial year 2019-2020. Stakeholders in the pensions industry hold that the design of the Kenya's Public Service Pension Scheme, which saw a number of workers on defined benefit scheme as opposed to contributory schemes, is to blame for the rising burden of pensions and gratuity on the taxpayer.
We have an issue of many people who are working in the government who are retiring currently. And the problem is that these people belonged to a scheme that was not contributory, what we call the defined benefits scheme. And sadly, when you use the particular calculation or the procedure that they use to compute the benefits, it's making up this big figure.
So how exactly does the defined benefit scheme work, given that unlike the contributory schemes many in the private sector are used to, members in such would not have to be making periodic contributions?
In such a scheme, a formula is used to calculate your pension savings in a way that maybe they take the number of years you've been working, your last salary, they multiply by the number of years you've been working and maybe they multiply by another factor.
Among sector experts, there is growing push for the implementation of sections of the NSSF Act of 2013, which have been stalled by court orders.
It was a good act in terms of the procedure, the amount of savings, reasonable amounts. Then it's a contributory scheme in that you don't have to burden taxpayers for this money when you are paying out people who are retiring. The NSSF Act was a good solution. It was a blueprint when it comes to solving issues of pension and improving the livelihoods of retirees in the country.
And that's the first part of team coverage. Stay with us because we still have Melita Oletenges and Maurice Ngoi giving us more details on this subject. Stay tuned to NTV. We'll be having more after the break.
Oya ni aje, mimi Jonte Fresh. Mimi ndio nimetambulika hii Gikomba yote sekta ya manguo. Jumio transform nguo ordinary za mtush zenye ziuka mna hii harufu ya bail into the freshest igi kosi yote. Siri ni hii Ariel mpya ya pink. Na kushow mtush zinang'ara kung'ara kushinda kamera. So clean, so fresh. Ma customer unaisana na hii story. Ninatumia Ariel touch of down mpya tu.
Mambo mengine sio rahisi, lakini kupata 50% extra airtime ya kukonda kwa SMS ya Safaricom, mambo ni one touch.
Pata 50% extra credo bila expiry ya kupiga na ku-SMS across networks. Piga star 444 star scratch card pin hash, na kama ni M-Pesa star 444 star 2 hash. Safaricom
for you.
Happy anniversary.
Mbona hii mabati ya kina dad na mom bado inakaa mpya? Na hii nyumba imekuwa hapa for so many years. Na pia umelelewa hapa.
Wow, imagine hata nilikuwa sija notice.
Rufus, wewe ni fundi wangu wa miaka mingi sana. Haya mabati yatadumu kweli?
Huyu kijana nilimwambia anunue mabati ya Dumuzas.
Usibahatishe mabati. Hakikisha umeangalia alama za kudhibitisha Dumuzas halisi. Chagua Dumuzas, mabati inayodumu kudumu. Isitoshe, Dumuzas ndio mabati pekee inayokuja na warranty.
Sitaki tena kubahatisha.
Helen Paul.
Hello, madam. Would you like to join us on this mission?
Yes, but how?
Just one question for you. How do you keep your toilet clean?
I use regular detergent and bleach for washing and removing yellow stains. I've been using it for years.
Oh, madam, the regular detergents and bleach are used for washing clothes. To disinfect your toilet properly, you need Harpic 10X. It is specially made for germs and stains removal. Harpic's thick formula settles on stains and gives 10 times better cleaning compared to regular detergents and bleach.
Wow, now I'm convinced, Helen Paul.
Really?
Yeah.
Now that she's part of the mission, the next house is yours.
Ati, naweza taka kwa hii kabambe. Nipate 4G smartphone.
Pata smartphone mpya kuanzia 20 bob daily pekee ukilipa mdogo mdogo. Weka down payment ya 1000. Lipa kuanzia 20 bob daily kwa miezi 9. Piga star 544 hash kuona kama unafaulu kupata 4G Neon Ray Pro.
Kuma bei ya smartphone hapa.
Si hapo Safaricom ni yako kabisa.
The fans are for real. Like they're feeling you, they'll show you they're feeling you.
I'm just grateful. So I'm just like taking every opportunity as it comes.
Through her fashion, you might end up falling in love with her music.
Being African is more of like, it's a home, it's a place, it's a feeling, you know?
Amani Ridge, the place of peace, is taking shape. The Solomonic Gate is complete. The stone perimeter wall is complete. And the title deeds for every plot. Call us today on 0790 300 300.
Welcome back to our team coverage on the pension burden. Next is Melita Oletenges live from Nyeri with a story on preparing for retirement. Tenges?
Correct, Zainab. Despite being out of the job market and a steady income, many retirees are making ends meet through investments made in their years of gainful employment. The story of Dunstan Magu and his wife puts this into context.
73-year-old Dunstan Magu and his wife are retired public servants, now living in their Oak Ridge farm in Madera, Nyeri County. Magu, who worked at the Kenya Medical Research Institute for 22 years, rose through the ranks to become a deputy director in charge of administration and finance. He retired in the year 2006.
I was a member of the Kemri Pension and Retirement Scheme, and I was paid my pension as a lump sum.
Magu, who has vast experience in knowledge management, has now embarked on being a motivational speaker and a writer. He also practices farming in his Oak Ridge farm, whose structures he built using his pension money.
All these are small scale activities. I don't treat them as large scale. But they are able to sustain me and my wife in retirement. I have about not less than 120 pigs. Every employee should know from the first day of service that the time will come for you to retire. People panic when they get notices that you retire from service from this date to that date. You know, life is about you. It's about yourself. It's not about others.
Magu's story, however, paints a different picture of how many Kenyans plan for their retirement. According to the Retirement Benefits Authority, only 22% of working Kenyans are enrolled in pension schemes, a trend specialists have warned about.
It's important to put some money aside for your future, when you will become old and will no longer be able to work for me. And you can do this very easily. Within 5 minutes, you can open for her a digital pension account.
This level of preparation for retirement is not only found amongst those who are in the formal job market, but also those in the sports arena. Lois Wangoi sought to find out how this is done.
Melita, this is a story about making hay while the sun shines, the contrasting fortunes of Kenyan track and field legends of days gone by and years after their retirement. Take a look. At this local sports shop in Eldoret town, we find veteran Kenyan athlete Kipchoge Keino selling sports equipment. At 80 years old, the 1968 Olympics gold medalist spent his time here or in his expansive Kazi Mingi Ranch, products of the sweat of his toil many years ago. But it has not always been easy, Kipchoge says.
Na wakati huo wetu tulikuwa nakimbia hatupati, tunapea allowance kama shilingi 14 ama 15 kwa siku, kwa sababu hatukuwa professional, tulikuwa amateur state. Tulikuwa naenda hapo kuwakilisha nchi, na nchi inaona ile kitu ambayo tamba wewe.
But through the toil of his brow on the track and as a police officer, the Olympic laureate pushed the boundaries in athletics, and with that came handsome rewards. His biggest break would come in 1974 when a product endorsement deal fetched him good returns, from which he began to invest in his future. Today, he owns a multi-million shilling estate as a result.
Hii nyumba ambayo tuko nayo sasa hii hapa. Niliitwa Amerika baada ya kuacha mchezo, nikaenda kukimbia na kampuni ya Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola akanipatia 150,000. Nikaja kanunua hii nyumba.
But not everyone is enjoying the benefits of their sweat. We find Chelimo Mayo at her home in Mlango Estate at Eldoret spreading her market wares. Now in her 60s, the 1972 Olympian sells vegetables to make ends meet. Chelimo too says planning for the future was a challenge owing to the mere returns. All hope was placed on her country.
Serikali sasa amesahau sisi kabisa watu ya samani. Na sisi nivaonia tulikimbia samani mpaka tukaletea medali Kenya.
The plight of retired Kenyan sports personalities has been a subject of debate for years. Heroes and heroines languishing in difficulty in their sunset years.
Kila mwanariadha sasa akishinda dhahabu anapatiwa shilingi milioni 1 na serikali ya Kenya.
But Kipchoge is advising athletes of this generation who are paid more and who have better opportunities not to depend on the government alone.
They can invest for their future life, which to buy a property, to buy land.
In the debate over additional retirement packs for former MPs, sportsmen and women are equally asking for a consideration, if only for the glory and pride they brought the nation. Also toured around the country in search of your views on this pension debate. Here are your thoughts.
Mimi sioni maana hawa watu walipo hiyo mishahara, kwa maana already si wameshafanya kazi yao, tulikuwa tukiwalipa. Sisi wananchi nani atatulipa? Kama sasa biashara zetu vile ziko chini, hakuna kazi, hiyo pesa kuwalipa itatoka wapi?
Sasa hiyo mambo ya wabunge kupewa pesa, mimi sioni ikiwa naanja, kwa sababu wamekuwa kazi na mtu akimaliza kazi yake analipwa ile kazi amefanya. Hiyo pesa nyingine unapewa kama hujafanya kazi haina maana.
Mimi naona mnavaa mwalipe kwa sababu ni kazi walikuwa wanafanya na hiyo ni haki yao.
As for me, I don't see whether there is any need for them to be paying 100,000 per month, because I do think that they had their savings there before they retired.
Sema akae nyumbani kwa sababu ya nini? Kama vijana wale wengi ambao wana pesa, ngiri 100 inaweza ikaiburi vijana kama 5. Kila kijana 2020.
Sisi bado tunapinga hilo swala kwa sababu vijana wengi hawana kazi.
Na unapoangalia siasa jinsi vitu zinalumbana, utagundua kuwa baadhi ya hao wabunge hata ambao walikuwa katika siasa, wao walikula ya kutosha.
Hapo sisa, kwa sababu hao wabunge ambao walifanya kazi wana pension na wako automatically kwa pension. Hao sasa 1,100 aje, na sisi ambaye hatukufanya kazi mfano kwa serikali na wengine watapata nini?
Swali langu mimi nauliza, hizi pesa 100,000 every month kweli zitaenda kutoka wapi? Na vile uchumi iko katika nchi yetu ya Kenya, kwa maoni yangu ningeonelea kwamba wangeempower vijana ambao kesho they will give back to the community.
And that's team coverage this Wednesday. Back to you in Nairobi, Zainab, Ismail.
All right, thank you, Lois Ongwe there from our Eldred studios. Remember, you can be part of this conversation. The hashtag is the pension burden. Also, hashtag team coverage. Tonight at Zainab Ismail at NTV Kenya. I would like to hear your thoughts on the same. And away from that, just who is the deep state or the system? And how powerful is it, or are they? These are some of the questions on the lips of many Kenyans a day after the country's second in command came out to voice a protest against a seeming state-sponsored opposition to his 2022 presidential ambition. NTV's senior political reporter Kennedy Mureithi now reports that his very detractors have wasted no time in rubbishing the DP's claims.
In quite a remarkable show of resistance, Deputy President William Ruto accused individuals often referred to as the deep state and the system as the stumbling blocks to his ambitions. The deep state or system has been described as faceless individuals who control the strings from the background and who decide the direction the country takes, especially in politics.
Tunatishiwa ati iko system, ati iko deep state, ati iko watu watatuibia kura. Hata mkipiga kura namna gani, kuna watu wameketi mahali fulani wataamua. Mimi nataka niwaambie, hawa watu tunawangojea. Hiyo deep state tunangojea. Na hiyo system tunangojea. Watakuja na system, sisi tutakuja na wananchi na Mungu.
We are the people. If he talks about God, we also pray. He's not the only person who is praying. God is for us all.
Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka says they come in different shapes and forms.
There are lots of interest groups, and those interest groups, some of them, have enabling capacity.
But those opposed to the DP's quest for the highest office have rubbished his claims.
William Ruto needs to share with Kenyans more about what he's talking about the deep state, because he knows more than us.
The best thing the deputy president should do is to resign. If he doesn't know the difference between him and the deep state.
Atwoli further accuses the DP of benefiting from the so-called system he now accuses.
2013, that he went to Hague, President Kibaki asked his Attorney General to represent him at Hague. That was a deep state. The deep state was not fighting him.
You can't be benefiting from the deep state until you become a deputy president and you disown it when you think it's not useful to you.
It is wrong for a deputy president like William Ruto to challenge his boss in the manner he has done today. If I was him, I would do the honorable thing. I would resign.
Political pundits hold that DP Ruto's remarks are meant to stir up the waters and fire up his supporters.
If you must defeat deep state in courts, then you must defeat it overwhelmingly.
Kennedy Mureithi, NTV.
Well, the high-stakes battle over the third-generation formula for sharing county revenue is set to get fiercer, even as claims emerge of a secret plot to force the Senate to take a predetermined position. In your Daily Nation tomorrow, find out why a section of senators believe the discussion has been hijacked by handshake politics. Plus, has Deputy President William Ruto decided to count his losses and move on? His allies say he's no longer counting on President Uhuru Kenyatta's endorsement and has opted to mobilize support alone. We also take stock of 150 days with COVID-19 in Kenya, the hits and misses. Don't miss your copy. And on that note, let's take a quick break here on NTV Tonight. Remember, we want to hear from you on our conversation this evening. The hashtag is the pension burden at NTV Kenya at Zainab Ismail. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back with the business news.
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
Over the past few months, our country has stood together to keep the COVID numbers down. Every day, new numbers tell us the same story, that we never let what we can't do come in the way of what we can. Let's keep going.
For a better tomorrow, don't forget to do the 1, 2, 3 with Colgate every night.
When deciding where to buy land for a home, consider your preferred neighborhood, security, social amenities, infrastructural master plan for the larger area, as well as your retirement years.
There are 4 approved architectural house concepts, styled to accommodate your ideal dream home. Indulge your senses and relive your childhood desires, where you can be free, be bold, and be at home.
Heaviness and a burning inside, it could be heartburn.
Indigestion and heartburn? Eno gets to work in 6 seconds and works on the 6 symptoms of heartburn so you can keep living life non-stop. Eno, fight heartburn and indigestion fast.
It is time to get down to business. Welcome, I am Julian Amboko, and we are going heavy on banking in this bulletin. Shareholders of KCB Group will have to go without a dividend payment for the first half of 2020 as the group's earnings suffered a beating in light of the adverse effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. The group's net earnings for the first 6 months of the year have declined by 40% to 7.6 billion shillings, down from 12.7 billion shillings recorded over the same period last year. The group has attributed the decline in profitability to increased loan loss provision, which climbed from 3 billion shillings to 11.3 billion shillings in the wake of higher credit risk due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The group's pile of bad debt shot up by 44 billion shillings to 83.9 billion shillings over the period as the group restructured facilities worth 101 billion shillings to cushion customers against the effects of the pandemic.
Quarter from March to June has been the most difficult quarter for us for nearly 10 years. So overall, I would say that we see activities subdued. Our performance has been driven by loans. Growth has been quite challenged. We've had to restructure a lot of our customers who face challenges in all sectors, from hospitality, transport, tourism, schools, and many others.
I'm sure we're all waiting to see how the market opens tomorrow and how the KCB share behaves in light of those results. NCBA Group has opted for early retirement of the 7 billion shillings debt facility issued by the Commercial Bank of Africa in 2015, a move that will see the bank trim on its financing costs going forward. The medium-term note program issuance 5 years ago was necessitated by the bank's regional expansion strategy, with the bank acquiring Crane Bank in Rwanda in the first quarter of 2018. NCBA is set to settle the debt on the 14th of September, a full quarter ahead of its December 2020 maturity. NCBA now joins Centum Investment in retirement of corporate debt in 2020, with Centum having fully repaid its medium and long-term debt in its June 2020 6.6 billion shillings repayment. The NCBA share price closed Wednesday's trade at 23 shillings and 45 cents, up marginally from Tuesday's trade. And now let's talk about lending to SMEs. Diamond Trust Bank Kenya Limited has signed an agreement for a $50 million loan with the International Finance Corporation for onward lending to small and medium-sized businesses affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. The funds are being provided under the International Finance Corporation's global $8 billion fast-track COVID-19 facility, which was launched in March to protect jobs and support businesses with working and trade-related capital. Diamond Trust Bank CEO says this funding will be critical in boosting the bank's SME loan book. Diamond Trust Bank's loan book stood at 201 billion shillings as at the close of March 2020, a 6.9% growth from the size reported in March 2019. And that takes us to the close of business. We're taking another break, but if you're a cat lover, take a look at this. Ever wondered what a cat photo shoot would look like? Well, this is it. To mark International Cat Day this past weekend, a photography studio in Paris offered cats a moment in the spotlight and a chance to eternalize, quote-unquote, their image. The studio works with a specific light. Do ensure that cats don't move around so they can capture the perfect shot. More after the break.
Happy anniversary. Mbona hii mabati ya kina dad na mam bado inakaa mpya? Na hii nyumba imekuwa hapa for so many years. Na pia umelelewa hapa.
Wow, imagine hata nilikuwa sija notice. Rufus,
wewe ni fundi wangu wa miaka mingi sana. Haya mabati yatadumu kweli?
Huyu kijana nilimwambia anunue mabati ya Dumuzas.
Usibahatishe mabati. Hakikisha umeangalia alama za kudhibitisha Dumuzas halisi. Chagua Dumuzas, mabati inayodumu kudumu. Isitoshe, Dumuzas ndio mabati pekee inayokuja na warranty.
Sitaki tena kubahatisha.
Mabati inayodumu kudumu.
Ndovu flowers are fortified with vitamins and minerals to provide wholesome goodness for the whole family. Ndovu all-purpose flour makes the most delicious chapatis, mandazis and all other pastries. Ndovu is readily available at your nearest shop. Ndovu tosha.
Pata smartphone mpya kuanzia 20 bob daily pekee ukilipa mdogo mdogo. Weka down payment ya 1000. Lipa kuanzia 20 bob daily kwa miezi 9. Piga *544# kuona kama unafaulu kupata 4G Neon Ray Pro. Si hapo Safaricom ni yako kabisa.
Breaking news from Molfix. Let's see what they're developing right now.
That is just for me. It really feels very comfy.
Molfix pants with anatomic fit technology. New Molfix pants, an invention from babies for babies.
You should also try Molfix.
Thank you for staying with us. You're watching NTV Tonight. A 21-year-old Kenyan farmer has been nominated among 4 young people from across the world for the Duke of Edinburgh's International Award for his efforts, let me get it right, for his efforts in supporting his community during a global health crisis with economic ramifications. Tina Kirori has more.
Around 21-year-old Gregory Kipchirir spending the International Youth Day tending to the blossoming vegetables in his family farm. What began as a humble source of fresh produce for the family has grown into a large enterprise, feeding the community too in these times of a global pandemic.
I chose agriculture during this period of Corona so that I can produce food for my family and also the community.
Nimefurahi sana na nimeona kumbe amefanya kazi nzuri sana na hii kazi yake imeonekana kwa ulimwengu mzima.
simple as this task may look, it has earned Kipchirchir recognition by the British royal family. This picture of him has hence been posted on the royal family's Instagram page among 4 pioneering young people from around the world. In the caption, the royal family writes, "We are handing our Instagram stories to young people from around the world who will be telling us about their lives during the pandemic as they have been working towards the Duke of Edinburgh's International Award."
Through the award, I am really grateful that it has told me skills that I never knew I'll be this great to this extent.
But before that, Gregory was enrolled in the local President's Award program, which is part of the Duke of Edinburgh's International Award Association, launched in 1966.
You choose to volunteer in your community and create an impact to other people. So upon completion, you are awarded a certificate. You can have 3 levels. It has bronze, silver and gold.
The President's Award program enrolls individuals between 14 to 24 years old who choose projects they'd like to partake in the bronze, silver and gold levels. Gena Kirori, NTV.
Well, for years, conserving Kenya's elephants has been a mammoth task, mostly due to the demand and supply of ivory. But strides have been made. And according to KWS, Kenya's elephant population has grown steadily from 16,000 back in 1989 to 38,400 by the end of 2019. This announcement was made during today's commemoration of the World Elephant Day held at the Amboseli National Park under the theme Bringing the World Closer to Help Elephants.
Christened Olelenku, this elephant's giant fall to the ground was part of a collaring exercise used in understanding the movement patterns of elephants for conservation and management efforts. The species has been endangered for years, with poaching being the major threat. But on this World Elephant Day, their future looks somewhat promising.
Our number of poached elephants from January to today has been 7. Last year were 34 elephants poached. The year before, there were 80 elephant poached.
Then there is the threat of human-wildlife conflict. The lack of a management plan due to changing land use by surrounding communities has adversely affected elephant habitats in the country in a battle for space. But the Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife and the KWS says a plan is in the pipeline to reverse this.
Wildlife-human conflict will be resolved amicably. Compensations are coming through and is something we are very happy about. And also benefits accruing from wildlife will now start going to the community.
All elephants countrywide are also expected to be profiled and named to make tracking easier. Elsewhere, Singapore has destroyed 9 tons of seized ivory, the largest such action globally in recent years, including contraband tusks that came from more than 300 African elephants, worth $13 million to mark World Elephant Day. Smriti Vidyarthi, NTV.
You know, someone said if size mattered, the elephant would be the king of the jungle. Well, residents of Masai Mara have opposed a plan by the government to gazette Masai Mara National Reserve as a conservation area. The locals say that the plan would lock out community investors from benefiting from the reserve. Tourism Cabinet Secretary Najib Balala ordered Narok County Government to implement the gazettement plan by 31st of August. Ruth Sarmwe has more.
For 15 years, the plan to gazette the Mara ecosystem as a conservation area has been in discussion. But now, the government says it's time.
We can't allow illegal development to happen in the Mara. If we don't have that management plan, that's why you'll have pressures of people wanting to build illegal camps. You'll have pressures of many things, and we cannot be able to protect this jewel.
But those living in and around the jewel are opposed to the move. It is from the Great Mara they get their heritage and earn a living, they argue. And the government's plan would mean creating room for conservation.
Hiyo zoning ni kitu very suspicious kwa hii community kwa sababu ni kama njia ama njama ya kuvunja kambi za raia za wananchi hawa ambaye hawana chochote hapa ili kambi zile first class ama zile ziko na wenyewe ni matajiri na mamillionaires waweze kupata hiyo biashara wakati kambi za watu wa kawaida zimefungwa. Na hakuna kambi ambayo imejengwa katika hii park ambayo haijakuwa approved na county government of Narok.
The plan, which is aimed at controlling development in the Mara, will have investors comply not only to the National Environmental Management Authority regulations NEMA, but also those from the Ministry of Tourism before developing property within the reserve.
Zaweka kampuni ingine kama Kenya Revenue Authority, na ni kitu ambayo itakuja kutumaliza na kitu ambayo najua hajajua maneno ya hapa kwetu Masai Mara. Private management tends to be oppressive, tends to be marginalizing, tends to be alienating, tends to be corrupt, tends to be exploitative, na hatuwezi kubali hizo vitu. Anaomba kuheshima serikali yetu wa Kenya, hii park mpeleka polepole ni yetu, ndio sisi tunakulia ng'ombe yetu, atulimi mboga, na tunaomba kama mnaona hii park haendi mzuri, mtupe nafasi sawa, tulime mboga tukule.
The community here wants public participation before such a move can be implemented. If their calls are not heeded, they say they will seek an injunction in court. Ruth Sarmoi, NTV, Nakuru.
All right, thank you, Ruth. Now, the sports news is up next on NTV tonight, but have a look at this baby boom. At an animal nature reserve in Colombia, there has been an unexpected increase in breeding from several exotic animals to more familiar ones. Take a look at these curious little ones.
From far with you. I even gifted you a magnificent house. Rosa, it's the thought that counts. Please help me.
When it comes to fever, you need to be both. Panadol Baby and Infant starts to work on fever in 15 minutes and is gentle on the tummy. Panadol Baby and Infant, tough on fever, gentle on your child.
The Champions League season is reaching a new peak. Are you ready for the ride? Everything again. Europe's finest football clubs are about to experience unrivaled acceleration. And DSTV gives you the best seat in the house. It's the thrilling rush to the UEFA Champions League final. Get connected to DSTV to experience every heart-stopping moment.
The fans are for real. Like, they're feeling you, they'll show you they're feeling you.
I'm just grateful. So I'm just like taking every opportunity as it comes.
Through her fashion, you might end up falling in love with her music.
Being African is more of like, it's a home, it's a place, it's a feeling, you know?
Amani Ridge, the place of peace, is taking shape. The Solomonic Gate is complete. The stone perimeter wall is complete, and the title deeds for every plot. Call us today on 0790 300 300.
NTV Sport in association with DSTV.
And DSTV gives you the best seat in the house. It's the thrilling rush to the UEFA Champions League final. Get connected to DSTV to experience every heart-stopping moment.
That's right. Welcome to NTV Sport. I'm Watson Karuma. Now, the World Athletics Continental Gold Tour Nairobi leg has been pushed forward to the 3rd of October and is likely to accommodate fans. According to the Keep Keino Classic organizers, led by Barnabas Koril, the successful Paavo Nurmi Games held in Finland on Tuesday has given the team confidence of hosting the gold event successfully right here in Kenya. The Finland event was held complete with fans, including the president, watching the action from from the stadium. Koril says having fans in the stadium will strictly follow Ministry of Health guidelines, and organizers are considering 15,000 fans to watch the action live at the Nyayo National Stadium. The event was set for the 26th of September, but was rescheduled to accommodate the other rescheduled event, that is the Doha Diamond League. Now, this year's Paris Marathon has been cancelled because it is impossible to hold the race during the coronavirus pandemic, organizers said today. The race, which moved from its original date of April 5th to November 15th, joins a long list of elite marathons across the world to be cancelled this year. The marathons in New York, Boston, Chicago and Berlin have been scrapped this year, and London announced that it would only hold a race for elite runners because organizers say it would be unsafe for 45,000 runners to compete. Ethiopians dominated last year's event as the two-time defending champion Paul Lonyangata finished second in the men's event. Now, Sofapaka President Eli Kalekwa is optimistic that the new FKF Premier League season will start soon, even if under the Ministry of Health restrictions due to the coronavirus. Kalekwa was speaking at Eastleigh High School earlier today as betting firm Betika announced a renewed sponsorship deal with Sofapaka FC. The two-year deal is worth 77 million shillings. The 2009 Kenyan Premier League champions will also receive uniforms, balls and goal nets from their sponsor. The extension of the partnership comes at a time when the FKF Premier League has already secured a 1.2 billion shilling deal with BetKing for next 5 years. Each Premier League club is set to receive 8 million shillings per season for the next 5 years.
Kuna wale wenye ambayo kwanza hata maligi zao zimeanza na hii kitu iko everywhere in the world, sio Kenya peke yake. Kwa hivyo hapa karibuni ligi tutarudilia, mpira itachezwa, hata kama itachezwa na makondition kufuatana na magonjwa, lakini mambo ni hivyo hivyo.
Vile umesema ni ndoa ambayo ilianza miaka 4 ambayo imepita. Na imekuwa safari njema kati ya Betika na Sofapaka. La kwanza kuhakikisha ya kwamba vijana wetu ambao wanacheza katika hizi timu, wale ambao wana support teams ya Sofapaka wanapata nafasi ya kuparticipate katika mchezo wa mpira.
All the best to Sofapaka in the upcoming season. Now, Sevilla qualified for the semi-finals of the Europa League on Tuesday after Lucas Ocampo's late header broke Wolves' hearts, while Shakhtar Donetsk thumped Basel 4-1 to join the Spaniard in the last four. Five-time competition winner Sevilla faced Manchester United in Cologne on Sunday thanks to a brilliant header from Argentine Ocampos with less than 2 minutes left on the clock, which gave them a deserved 1-0 win. Shakhtar League action, a Barcelona player has tested positive for coronavirus, but he has not been in contact with the squad traveling to Lisbon for the Champions League quarter-final against Bayern Munich. Barca, who were beaten to the Spanish title by Real Madrid, faced Bayern in the final 8, played behind closed doors in the Portuguese capital on Friday. The quarters are on tonight, with PSG facing Atalanta. The French champions have not reached the semi-finals of Europe's elite club competition since 2011. Atalanta's coach said the city of Bergamo's terrible suffering during the coronavirus pandemic provides extra motivation to his side as the Italian underdogs. A straight knockout final tournament held in one place akin to a World Cup or European Championship was the only solution available to UEFA in order to complete its most lucrative club competition. Suspended for 5 months from March until last weekend. No spectators are allowed inside the stadiums. That does it for NTV Sport. Thank you for your time. Have a lovely night.
NTV Sport in association with DSTV.
And DSTV gives you the best seat in the house. It's the thrilling rush to the UEFA Champions League final. Get connected to DSTV to experience every heart-stopping moment.
All right, and that's a wrap from us here on NTV tonight. And just a few of the comments on the pension burden team coverage tonight. Jones Leshan saying, I think pension is paid to those who retire from public service, and like the MPs, 99% were not re-elected, nor retire. And again, most Kenyans on public service are active now, and far less than the 100K the defeated MPs aspirants want. At Michael 55 saying, giving former MPs salaries will begin a slippery slope leading to every civil servant now in the future to demand the same treatment on taxpayers' expense. And at Kevin Vodoti saying it is very uncouth to give retired MPs money, especially from taxpayers and unemployed youths. Talk to us at the hashtag the pension burden, at Zainab Ismail at NTV Kenya, hashtag also NTV tonight. I'll be able to continue with the conversation online, and we'll be able to engage on this particular issue. But our sign language interpreter this evening was David Agondo. My name was Zainab Ismail. Have yourself a lovely night. See you tomorrow.